The Bite Me podcast is coming right up, and it is brought to you every week right here on YouTube by Freedom Boats. It is the best shallow running boat on the water, and there is a model perfect for you. The Chiquita 14, the Eagle 16, the Patriot 18, the Commander 21, the beautiful Warrior like I have 23, or the big boy that runs so shallow, the General 26. Chet Morampudi can customize it however you'd like, and there's a dealer near you, whether it's the Boatyard in Kemah or dealerships in San Antonio, Beaumont, Corpus Christi, Port O'Connor, Houston, and Aransas Pass. Freedom Boats or freedomboatsusa.com. Welcome into the Bite Me podcast. Got a lot to cover today. I didn't really even get to chat with the boys a lot before we went on air here. So we're going to get the updates from them with all our lovely friends here on the Bite Me podcast. I'm John Lopez. That is Captain Dean Thomas, sporting the Bite Me cap that you can get at scottnoelphotography.com. Of course, you can get the new shirts as well at ogsauce.com. That is Captain Scott Knoll, and Captain Caleb McCumber is crickets. Wait a minute. We have a late edition. We are live, Caleb. We didn't know if you were going to make it or not. So Caleb has joined us now. And just getting into the podcast here. Let's do it this way. I promised last week at the end of the show, we got a lot to cover. We got fishing mysteries that the Bite Me crew wishes they could solve. And Caleb is gone. We've got a major update on the Oyster Buyback program. We've got Flounder lifecycle that we didn't get to. Lines, lures, all kinds of stuff today. But at the end of the show yesterday, and you can see it in my handy little on my handy little paper here. At the end of the show, I said, yeah, we forgot to update people on the Feeding Frenzy, etc. So let's do that right out of the chute. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. And, of course, join the group page, which is going to be integral to what we're talking about right now to start the show. And that is the Feeding Frenzy sponsors and donors. I was texting with Gene Crush, who obviously kind of runs the show at the Texas Boys Outdoors, along with Roy Crush, her worst half. And I said, hey, what are the latest numbers? Had a couple people asking. We're at 100. This is as of Sunday now. No, yesterday, Monday. We are at 187 RSVPs, which is great. Keep in mind, you want to RSVP as soon as you can, as soon as you know that you're going to be able to go to the Feeding Frenzy on September 20th at Coasters in Aransas Pass, because the first 200, we got your meal covered. After that, we still want you to come. We had 500 people last year, and it's just $15 for the whole shebang, which we'll get into more details of the event itself, which is of course going to include a casting accuracy contest. But let me go through some of this stuff, reasons why you want to go and maybe bring a little extra money. Some of the things that we're going to have for you is I'll go through it as quickly as possible, and there's more that's going to be added as we get closer. 6 Bite Me logoed shootouts. That's the shootout that I used a lot this weekend with the Bite Me logo. Of course, the main item in the raffle is a 2025 Freedom Patriot with a Suzuki 140 horsepower motor and coastline trailer. That comes from Chet Morampudi at the Boatyard. Obviously, the shootouts come from Bill Bork and Captain Dean Thomas, who's here. We got First Mate Vacation Rentals. We got a house in Port O'Connor. We've got Arctic Coolers from one of our great listeners, several logo with the Bite Me logo, Arctic Coolers from Rico Castillo. Anglers Anonymous. Haven't gotten their donations yet, but it's going to be abundant because he always comes in through Mike Butler and Chris Butler over there. Fishing Tackle Unlimited, a couple of green rods, sponsorship for the meals. Power Pole Marine Smart Charger, that's about a $1,500 value. 4 Lose Reels, 2 bait casts, 2 spinning. A South Texas deer hunt in Cotulla for up to 2 guests, 2 nights, 3 days with lodging for a management buck and doe and hogs. That's from Marcus Canales. 2-night stay at a Copano Bay House with a pier, plus guided fishing trip included with Captain John Culp and Kristen Culp. Rough Country Collapsible Fire Pit, which is really cool. Custom Texas Boys Outdoors coolers, either 3 or 4. I didn't get the number exactly. Bass Pro Shops gift cards. 2 or 3 person Flounder gigging trip with Night Stalker in Rockport. CCA has come through. Of course, Shane Bonneau said, don't worry about it. We got you. They're going to have several raffle items for us. 3 Orion coolers from Orion by Jackson Kayaks and all kinds of other stuff coming in. So you definitely want to get in, RSVP. the hotel link, which is $70 off the regular rate for our group. That's pinned on the group page. RSVP is pinned on the group page, and raffle tickets. That's the other thing. I said, how many raffle tickets have sold so far? They're, I believe, $50 a piece, and we've already got $3,300 raised for Heroes on the Water and Texas Boys Outdoors.
We have another one pending. We have Gabriella's in Rockport is coming in as a sponsorship also.
There you go. And Gabriella's, we had a nice dinner there, and I say nice, fantastic dinner there.
Very nice.
And Caleb, I believe you said there's going to be some sort of item that you guys are going to donate from Angler U as well, right? You're
some
not
hats.
We can't hear you.
Hats.
And also the still can't hear you.
How about
he came in for a second. Now he's out.
There
he is. Yeah, you're there now. What else you guys got coming in?
Well, we're gonna find some cool stuff. I can't let everybody know what the grand prize is.
Oh wow. Well, the grand prize is going to be pretty good anyway. So we'll take another one, that's for sure. So anyhow, I want to give everybody an update on that. Be sure to RSVP. Be sure to
hey, look, they're coming in live. Scott Hodge with Frog and Toad is gonna he made a nice donation of some palm trees last year for a prize. So
there you go.
Coming in live.
All right, Chef Gonzo. Not only being a sponsor, that's Gabriella's, by the way, but also
Scott Hodge.
Dinner for 4 at Gabriella's. Well, too late. You already wrote it down, Chef Gonzo, so I'm writing it down as well. So now we got dinner for 4 at Gabriella's as well. And you said Scott Hodge?
Be about
it.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
Yep. I said, don't talk about it, Chef. Be about it.
That's right. There we go. Dinner for 4. I'm writing it down. And just for those who didn't hear before, we raised more than $50,000 last year. So these items, whether it's silent auction, live auction, or raffle, your money's going to a really, really good place for sure. So I'll write down Scott Hodge and follow up with him as well. But let's get to the podcast, man. I wanted to do that first because a lot of people were asking. Be sure to get that done. Let's get some updates from around the horn, and then I want to get into my little contribution. I actually had to call. Dean and say, talk about the Sweet Nectar of weekday fishing, but that's exactly what I called it. But Dean, it's been hit and miss, man. It's been hit and miss. I missed for about damn near 4 hours, and then we got on them. So it's just like the day itself is kind of wild to predict right now.
I mean, it's been an interesting 2 weeks. I mean, I have to, reflect on the days that we absolutely struggled to find fish, bait fish, any kind of life in the water from deep water. I mean, we battled through some real windy days. And if you follow along the cycle of the moon and what you expect, like the week before the new moon and such was absolutely tough. The last 3 days has really come around. I mean, we're back to beautiful redfish on the grass, speckled trout consistent on the edges, but I mean, it has just been an interesting 2 weeks, and really not. It's probably closer to 10 or 9 or 10 days, the way it has fluctuated dramatically from day to day. But today did pretty good. Yesterday was awesome. But that also, I mean, and I'll let you talk about the difference. You got to fish all weekend, Saturday to Monday, and the difference of what you see on a Monday compared to what takes place on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, well, let me get into that now since you brought it up, and then Scott and Caleb can jump in. I was driving home yesterday, and I was realizing that I called it the Sweet Nectar of weekday fishing. I fished on Fridays. I'll take an early, I'll work through Thursday and I fish on Friday, but Fridays are busy, because people knock off early all the time. Mondays, I took this Monday off and I went fishing yesterday, and I'm telling you, Scott, like all the things that you don't realize you're not looking at, you don't see on weekends when there's so much traffic, so much water churning up, so much everything. I was making one drift, and you could just see the mullet just swirling in circles in front of you, just big, just going back and forth. Go 5-10 more feet, you see another group. A lot of times you don't even see that on the weekends because they're already so disrupted. And then the one that really did it for me is I was going to this one ridge that I like to fish, and Dean knows where I'm talking about. And usually I had my son BG with me, and I'm like, well, let's go over there and let's see if we can carve out about 200-yard area to maybe fish a little bit. I got there, and this ridge is about 3 miles long from where I started, Dean. The entire thing was wide open, not a single boat, not one boat. And I just edged up there, put my trolling motor on, let the wind carry us, and just stayed on the ridge the whole time for 3 miles, probably an hour and a half, and just caught fish after fish. I mean, it's like that never, ever, ever happens on the week. I had the entire thing to myself, and I'm like, well, damn it, I need to retire, man. I mean, I need to get some insurance, because if that's the only thing keeping me where I am right now. But weekdays, man, you talk about the weekday challenge. It's been about 4 months since I fished on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and those are the 3 best days.
That's why we call it Weekday Challenge. We kind of got in trouble for that when we first coined it. Kind of irritated a few people, but it's true, man. I mean, it's hard to beat. Yeah, I mean, Sundays, you said Friday is getting busy. Yeah, I mean, Friday's a new Saturday for a lot of people. It's really changed over the years, especially around here. You can see the traffic building up. Thursday evening, there's a whole lot more people in town, and they seem to fish Friday, Saturday, and then they kind of lay off on Sundays.
Yeah.
So Sunday's kind of becoming a new Monday.
Yeah.
Not bad. And by Sunday afternoon, there's nobody out there. But it lets things settle down. Then Monday gets a little better. Tuesday gets really good. Wednesday, Thursday is really good. And then Friday, it starts all over again.
Yeah. And Caleb, they were talking FG right here. Airboats screwing up the fishing on the flats on the weekends. There's a lot more of those. But where I wanted to go with you, Caleb, is not only is the fishing better because of the things you can do, but the water, I mean, everything is just clearer, easier to access, less disrupted. It just seems like the weekdays. Here's where I'm going. If you can fish on the weekdays, and this might screw everything up because we have so many listeners, fish on the weekdays. It makes a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I wish somebody had told the people in Matagorda that Sunday's the new Monday, according to Scott, this Sunday.
Well, I think it has to do with you're closer to Houston.
Yeah. I took a picture of what I thought was 3 boats all within 200 yards of each other, and I took the picture, and whenever I zoomed in to count the boats, I counted 6. There were just ones that were out of sight.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to South Texas to fish tomorrow, and my options were Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Thursday, and I took Wednesday, Thursday all day long just because of boat traffic. So yeah. I mean, I try to not fish at all on the weekends. I ran a trip on Sunday because they were old established customers that wanted to do something with father-in-law or dad or something like that. But no, I don't want to be there on Saturday or Sunday. I really don't. So hey, if you are weekday challenged, I'm not going to be in your way. So that's just, that's one less person.
The other thing, Dean, and I've fished a lot of weekdays. I've always liked to take days off, but when you haven't done it in a while, it was like a revelation, man. I was like, holy crap. I can't believe I went 3 miles without a boat and I was catching all these fish. The water was clearer.
Yes. Everything.
Everything.
The birds are singing more. The sky is bluer. The
water is sweeter.
Greener.
The food tastes better.
Yeah.
The tacos are spicier.
The tacos are less greasy. It's amazing. Yeah. And Sunday, though, like Caleb was talking about, June is different than every other month of the year because school's out, the kids are out, it's vacation time. The beginning of summer, the first month, June is always the busiest. It'll slack off a little bit. You make it up to the 4th of July, and then Sundays kind of go back to normal after that. But right now with the kids, I mean, and I've fished with grandpas and grandkids and fathers and sons, and a lot of that as soon as school's out.
And Sherman said the girls are prettier. That's where I would disagree. The weekend girls is where all the amateurs come out, and I mean that respectfully, and they just take their girlfriends out. You know what? That's another aspect of it, Scott. Like, I was actually fishing. I did see another boat on one area that I was fishing, and I kind of put my hand up and told him I was going to just putter, basically puttered behind him. And he put his hand up like he knew what I was doing and I knew what he was doing, and we stayed away from each other. Try that on a Saturday. Try that on a Saturday.
Whenever I used to work a real job, my jobs offered the what they call it, like flex schedule or something, where you got every other Friday off. And my first job, my first position, I took that every other Friday off. And my second one, whenever I went in to talk about whether I was going to work for them or not, one of my requests was that my flex plan was every other Wednesday off. And they couldn't wrap their head around it. They're like, but that means you're gonna have to work every Friday. I'm like, yeah. They said, you're not gonna have any long weekends. I'm like, I'm aware. And I spent 4 or 5 years working for Marathon Oil with every other Wednesday off. And that's when I went and did my fishing.
So you knew what you were doing. That's the most weekday fishing I did is when I was a columnist at the Chronicle. And this is when I really, really got heavy into all kinds of stuff. Because if you think about it, most sports I was covering was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I would often have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off. And I had forgotten. I mean, it was awesome. I would just go out there. Back then I was fishing Trinity a lot and Sabine. I mean, Trinity and Matagorda. Dude, it's a game changer. So I don't know what people are going to get out of this other than shirking from work, but that's what you should do.
That's what sick days are for, man. Nobody wants to be at home on a sick day.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get to this question that we got. Fishing mysteries that even the Bite Me crew wishes they could solve. And this was basically one of my own ideas that came from a conversation I had with a buddy of mine. Actually, last week, I was there, and said one of the mysteries to him was the common sense mystery, which we've talked about a lot here. But I started thinking, some things are just mysteries altogether, whether it's the color sometimes mattering and sometimes it doesn't, whether it's the conditions one day to the next. And we actually experienced this this week. Actually, Dean experienced it, but he told me about it. I think it was Friday, Dean. You absolutely killed it, like just absolutely crushed it. Saturday's conditions were, identical, like same wind, same tide, same everything, and you didn't kill it. I don't know how many you caught, but you didn't kill it.
And actually, it was actually before that, so I can't really blame Saturday boat traffic and such as that. But so the drop-offs that I speak of for speckled trout fishing this time of year, when you pull up on it, and if you get one in the first 2 or 3 casts, boom, usually it's just one after another. So I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday, may have been Thursday. Pulled up, and it was like 50 trout in 2 hours.
That's right.
It was could not go wrong. Sit there until we were tired of catching those. Then we went looking for some redfish. The very next morning, I pull out of the marina. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Let's get it on. We're going to beat everybody to the spot.
We've all been there.
Same thing. Could not catch a single fish in the same spot on the very next day. And it was just from Thursday to Friday. So can't blame the boat traffic. And we were there at the crack of dawn as the sun was coming up. There was no boat traffic yet. And the rest of that day was just continued to be challenging. It was part of like what I was saying at the beginning, how it has been an inconsistent week where we've had just banner days and then turn around to try to duplicate that. Same tide, same wind, same everything, and just couldn't pull a fish.
You want me to solve that mystery for you, Dean?
Please.
John, you want me to solve it?
Please.
Scott,
you want him to solve
it? Here's
Scott's
the
like,
truth.
sure.
We are all completely full of shit.
Yeah.
Go
on. I knew that already.
I was out Sunday, that freshwater to saltwater line we talk about. It was like 150 yards to my east. In front of me is just an endless supply of the most beautiful trout green with streaks of sandy green in it.
Ooh, baby.
There was shrimp popping. There was little finfish popping. There was a frigate flying in a circle. You never get a frigate flying in a circle in East Matagorda Bay. There's a frigate in a circle. There's seagulls flying. This is going to be the best damn day of fishing of our life.
None
of it meant a damn thing, John.
Well, that's the topic. What are some mysteries that you wish you could solve? That one for sure. And I've actually had that same experience. Scott, I want you to weigh in. You have theories on a lot of things. Like we brought up a million topics here. over
The
the years.
barometer was high.
And you have theories on whether it's the barometer or whether it's color. I mean, you have a theory on color, but are there any mysteries where even if you have a theory, you're like, can't figure that one out?
Where do tarpon go on a full moon?
Oh, I knew we were going to get to tarpon.
Tarpon
Yeah.
baffle me with that. I mean, I can be on just tons and tons of them, and that full moon pops. And it can be the day before the full moon. Everything's fine. Full moon hits, and they disappear, and then they're gone for 2 or 3 days. The only thing I've been doing a lot of reading on it, and they've come up with they think that they're going super deep out straight off the beach, and that they're spawning out there on a full moon.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of preposterous to me that they would just run straight off the beach to go spawn, but it seems like a lot of wasted energy when they could just spawn where they are. But you know, and closer to the passes, that's what I don't get. Because baby tarpon grow up in the backwaters. So
maybe. Why
would they run way the hell out there to spawn? And I don't know.
Anyway, those baby tarpon a workout.
Yeah. but that's my main mystery I'd like to know is what I can do on those full moon days.
Here's another one that me and Scott and Dean know well is how come we have never discovered the tunnels and bunker systems that marsh redfish use? Because there can be a pond with 1,000 of them in it, and then 2 hours later there ain't a fish in it. And then 6 hours later there's 1,000 of them in there again.
They got a tunnel.
Dude,
I have often pondered that subterranean question.
That's the only place for them to go.
How do they do that?
That's where a subterranean redfish thing came from. Me and Dean were out there, and I was going to get photos of Dean casting into a school of tailing reds. And we were out there in the kayaks. And I said, all right, we got eyes on them. It's foot deep. It's right outside the Lighthouse Lakes. Perfect place. Nothing but grass beds for miles. And I go paddling around to get to the other side, and I look back, and I look at Dean, and I shrug my shoulder. Where'd they go? You don't know. And I stood up in the kayak, and he stood up in his kayak, and we're looking at a foot deep water that we can see forever. Middle of the day, bright sunshine, clear water, and they're gone. And I have no idea. To this day, have no idea where those fish went.
Yeah. I mean, how do they disappear in 1 foot of crystal clear water and then you can't find them? There's only one logical solution. It's the subterranean tunnels.
Tunnel reds. Tunnel red. Somebody said they're Vietnamese. Then I'm not going to go there. Anyway,
I think we almost caught one doing that today because we hooked into one redfish today that was buried so deep in the grass. I mean, he just stayed buried until we drifted up to it and then hoisted it up. And then when it came loose, it ran like 20 feet and went straight down. I think he was trying to get in that tunnel.
Like pulling an armadillo out of the hole.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. He almost gave it away for everybody. But
I say this knowing that you guys are going to give me a hard time. But sometimes when I'm having a hard time and I start throwing the popping cork, I know, I have my theory. You guys have your theories, is making the noise and all. But a topwater hadn't worked. A topwater, a lily. I threw a lily out a lot this weekend, and I've actually caught some fish. But the way that a popping cork will get their attention when other surface and slightly subsurface things won't get their attention.
Okay, I have a confession.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to keep this to myself.
Oh man,
you bring it up.
Here we go.
The day, it may have been the day after we just destroyed those trout. And it may have been 60 or 70. We can't quit counting in 2 hours. It was just ridiculous. So I had a youngster with me the next day. I think he was like 8 years old. And the kid, he was good, man. He could fish. He ended up, that was that one that caught his first red on the topwater. I posted the picture of him. And we went over there to that area where those trout were. And I hung the golden shrimp, little gold DOA under a popping cork. And threw that thing, even after we threw, plastics, the soft plastics on jig heads, nothing. I was like, okay, we're going to pull old John Lopez out of the hat.
Yep.
Hooked it up, pop. Didn't catch a damn fish.
I thought you were going to kill him.
I thought you were
no. I mean, I was like, I got it. I got this, guys. I'm like, here we go. And,
Yeah.
And still, even with all of that effort, still did not make it happen. I still got them. They're right here next to me. I still got my little shrimp tied on the corks.
Welcome to the dark side.
It provokes more research is what it does.
Welcome to the dark side.
I thought you were about to tell them about the secrets behind topwater modifications. I thought that's where that was going.
Like what?
Which I've had
the reason you take your treble hooks off of your topwaters. I thought that's where you were going.
I heard that story too.
Oh man, he called me up. I just got done talking a little bit of shit about him to somebody else, and then my phone rings, and Dean's like, "You ain't gonna believe what I just heard, man." I was like, "How did you find out that fast?"
I heard that story too.
I don't even know where to start with that one.
Go ahead if you want to.
It came from
another source. How about that?
We have a lot of and it's hard to explain how any of these subjects get covered. They just, you got 6 or 7 hours out there on the boat to chitty chat, and we just kick stuff around all day long. So dude tells me, I was looking, he said, what I heard on a fishing app, he says, that I will not name, even though I knew where it was, but I was like, okay, we'll let that die right there.
We've done this show.
The reason that treble hooks are removed from topwater lures and put on straight hooks is because treble hooks make too much noise. And I let it absorb for a minute. I kind of let it absorb.
You digested that a little bit.
And I was like, isn't the point of a topwater to make noise? I mean, they add rattles to them, they add knockers, they add things to it's the attraction. The noise is what is the attraction of a topwater lure. Which is why I've always said I don't care what color it is, it's clicking, it's splashing, and it's doing its thing. But it's just one more aspect of how entertaining fishermen, anglers, and their theories can really be someday.
We call that one the B2.
The B2. So
then the funny punchline to the whole end of the story was I explained that I invented single hooks on topwater lures.
You were the one.
Yes, I invented that. I mean, I was like, if we're gonna get crazy, let's just get crazy. Let's see who can out crazy each other.
But really though, man, I wish you had caught a bunch of fish on that popping cork, because I was like, I can't tell you how many times, Scott. I'm telling you, I've tried top waters, I've tried leads, because the big misconception is that I throw top waters a lot. I throw them in situations where I feel like I can use them and they'll make a difference, because they absolutely have. It makes a popping sound. I've tried plastics and it doesn't work in the same depth, like, shallow water, same depth plastic as a popping cork. But when you do the popping cork, you get bites. I always talk about waking them up. I don't understand it. It's a mystery to me. Yeah.
Well, when you watch a top water, you can see a lot of times when you're up top, like Caleb is on his tower, you can see the redfish just come up there and swim up behind it, and they'll just stop and look at it and turn around, swim off. See it doing it all the time. So a popping cork is doing the same thing a top water is, except it's got that tasty little morsel hanging underneath it. And that's what tricks them.
Whenever a really attractive girl
here we go
provides entertainment to a not so attractive guy, and they call it a pity something.
Yeah,
that's where them bites on that
I'll take it.
Come from.
I'm not proud. I'll take the pity.
They're probably like, this poor old dude ain't even got fingers. He's trying to catch us. Who's going?
Who's gonna go? Somebody has to bite that thing. Sherman says that you absolutely mentioned my name when you pulled out that popping cork too.
I wasn't gonna take credit for. I was gonna put that on somebody else. I was deflecting.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. What about any other mysteries that you guys might have?
Why do people get retarded when their fiberglass touches salt water?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why are they so angry? What makes people so angry about being on the water with fiberglass? The dudes on the bank don't seem pissed off. It's got to be the fiberglass.
Maybe it is. that kind of ties in with the common sense mystery that everybody has. But if there's anything else, and then Scott, let me know if you have any other mysteries that are out there, Dean, as well. But I don't want to move on without forgetting story time from you. You had a tournament this weekend, and it was our guy Uncle Kerry. Uncle Kerry, I was out there at Fishing Tackle Unlimited not long ago. Did a little video with him, actually on the slow pitching, for red snapper. But you and Kerry were in a tournament, and then what happened?
Yeah, we had a blast. I mean, we were so serious and so into this. I mean, hardcore tournament anglers here. I had Kerry and I had Banning, and Banning rented a house down there in Galveston. I had to go back to that mud hole and fish, and it was tough. It was really, really tough. I mean, there wasn't no redfish around. I went into all my old holes, went to the right places, poled everywhere, and I mean, we hardly even spooked a redfish.
Maybe if you wouldn't tell everybody about all the good spots on this show, Scott.
Yeah, back of greens. That's a really good spot.
Did you check it?
I went there.
Was there fish there?
Wasn't none there.
See, now you see the problem.
Well, were there other people there?
Places, a lot of other unmentioned places, and there just wasn't much going on. And it was pretty slim pickings. But on day 2, we're pulling up a bayou, and believe it or not, I went into a bayou I'd never been into before. I actually found a place in Galveston I hadn't been, and so I'm pulling up that day. It's a real wide, just shallow bayou, and we're going up it. And my 2 anglers, I mean, let's say they're not serious.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, day 1 we got on the water. I told them as we were going to bed about 1:00 Thursday night.
Oh God!
That lines in the water was 5:41, and all I heard from both bedrooms was laughing. And a lot of laughing, and then from Kerry's bedroom was nope. So we got on the water bright and early about 9:30.
Oh God!
Day 2 was more like 10:15, maybe, I don't know, could have been 10:30. And anyway, we're going down through there, and they're talking. Kerry's telling old stories about his rep days and working for his uncles at Neiman Marcus and all that. That's where the Marcus comes in, is related to the Neiman Marcus family. And anyway, he's just chatting along there, telling story, and all of a sudden, I'm telling you, we haven't had a hit, man. I mean, we had nothing. And all of a sudden, Banny goes, "What the hell?" I look up, and Rod's Banny goes, "I got a fish." Hey, wait a minute, I got a fish. What do I do?
And what do I do?
And Kerry gets mad because it interrupted his story. And stupid fish. And he dropped a few cuss words on him. And anyway, he fights it on up there. And I don't know if you noticed, but Kerry's hands are in pretty bad shape these days with a lot of arthritis. So we called them the hooks and the claws. And I started getting down off the platform to help him land the fish. And Kerry said, "Oh, I got it. I've landed. I've landed sailfish. I can land a damn redfish."
Yeah.
I wish I'd have had video of it, man. I mean, God, it would have gone viral. He gets his hooks up underneath there, his little claws underneath this little 20-inch redfish. And he starts to lift him up. Well, he's all bent over on the side of the boat, leaning over. And this redfish slaps him upside the head 3 times with its tail. I mean, hard, audible slaps. He spins around and his hat's crooked. His glasses are crooked. He's got water all over his shoulder. I'm about to fall off the damn platform. Banning is squatting on the bow with his rod, just laughing. And he drops the redfish, and Banning has to bring it back up there. He has it way down towards the back of the boat, and Kerry's leaning over at the front. And Banning says, "Okay, go ahead and get him." He says, "You're going to have to bring him to me. I'm old."
It's a regular stop for me, and it should be for you too. Anglers Anonymous in Katy. It's a candy store for fishermen that's going to make your head spin and help make you a better fisherman. You got to see the expanded store too, and you got to chat it up with Mike and Chris Butler, all the guys at Anglers Anonymous. They'll answer your questions honestly, and they'll get you what you need. Reels, rods, lures, they have it all, and apparel that's off the chart. And of course, the calling card service. Real repair, they turn it around for you quickly, and you will be happy. That's Anglers Anonymous in Katy or anglersanonymous.tx.com.
Gary will be 80 here soon. And he drags that redfish up the side of the boat again. Gary gets his hands underneath it, and this time he's holding it a little bit under the water, and that thing starts kicking again. And I have never seen a redfish. It looked like a flounder slap. It splashed water all over his shoulders, his hat, his glasses, everywhere. Good God. I mean, I laughed a lot all weekend with these two, but that was the hardest I've laughed on my boat in a very, very, very long time.
The funniest thing is when a guy's glasses get all screwed up. That's like the funniest image. like, oh man, their glasses are all at an angle or whatever.
His hat was more crooked than Dean's. His glasses being crooked the other direction. It was great. And then a Carey, of course, he adds a little flavor to it and makes it even more fun.
He's a little salty, even if he wasn't fisherman.
It is so much fun to have those two guys. We only get together like once a year. Get on the boat once a year, but I look forward to it every time. Like I said, we get really, really serious about it. Hell, there was one, we had a redfish. We had two fish coming at us down the bayou. And I was like, all right, here we go. Got two shadows coming. And there's a most spots pot, right? On, typical tournament deal. And so Banning starts casting to it, and he gets in front of it, and I mean, just cast after cast, slapping it right in front of his fish. It swims under the bow, both of them, where I can't even see them anymore. And Carey's leaning over the side of the boat, and he's slapping that lure in front of it. He goes, man, I got to get that one. He's got so many spots. There's hundreds of spots on him. Dude, that's one of those leopard reds. It's a leopard red. I've never caught one. I've always wanted one. And he keeps swimming on down the bank past us, and he's still hitting it over and over. And he's a great fly catcher. I mean, he's putting it on this fish's nostril, and he cannot get anything out of it. The fish makes a big loop and comes back to the boat. And as it's coming back to the boat, it rises up. You know why it had so many spots?
It was a trout.
It was a spotted gar.
Oh, a gar. That'll do it. That'll do it.
The whole weekend was like that. I mean, it was just nonstop.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of other things here. This one I just want to make mention of. I mentioned Shane Bonneau earlier that they're in a little Oyster Buyback. I want to get you all's thoughts on just what it is and the prospects moving forward. We've talked about oysters a lot here. Some of the things we've gone to the Flatsworthy event. So he shared it to all of us. So I'll update it because it was on their regular email. But the latest round, they offered a flat $30,000 per license, closed on May 31st, and 112 people accepted it. 112 people. Now that might not sound like a lot, but it's 20% of all the licenses in the fishery, which is pretty large. Obviously, a lot of people are in on this to try to get the oyster reefs back. So I'm curious, just general, I wanted to share that for our listeners, but I'm curious on some of y'all's thoughts on, is this thing we've talked about? Dean, I'll start with you. And I know you can be realistic is what I'll call it, because I don't think you're lying and I don't think you're wrong necessarily. But you've been a little skeptical and I think, no, I'm being honest, like legitimately, fairly skeptical that it's going to take forever to get this thing going in the right direction. But 20%, $30,000 a piece, 112 licenses bought back.
Yeah. Was that 20% actually out there fishing? Was that 20% of licenses that people were just sitting on? That is, it's a start. You got to start somewhere. The fact that the program exists now, that it's a step in the right direction. And the best way to get the answers to these oyster questions is we should get Cody Kreft. We talked about that in the past. Dude is an expert on the proliferation of the oysters, why the brief explanation that he gave me on why the oyster reefs do not exist or in Redfish Bay close to the pass. because of the way the ones are over harvested in the back bays and they never get to spawn and they never get to spread to those areas, is all very interesting on how much effect that buyback license has on the future and the impact that it is. But everything has to start somewhere. I mean, and the fact that it is in existence now, hey, it's going at least in that direction. There's a conversation.
Yeah, and Caleb, that's where I was going to ask you about what I was going to ask you about. 20% might be 20%, and a lot of them were just trying to get the money because they weren't going to license, they weren't going to fish anyway for oysters. I think the next one, the next round, and there will be another round. Maybe that might be the more telling one.
Yeah, no, that's the thing of it is how many licenses are out there and active in your area. 20% of the guys driving in circles in East Matagorda Bay doesn't really help anything. I mean, it helps something, but if there's 100 boats out there and there's 80 instead, like Dean said, it's a dang good start for it. And I wonder if they're going to do some fishing guide buyback programs.
I think 99% have sold them back.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I ain't saying I won't raise my hand. And whenever I was about 32 years old, they asked for I was 30 something. I don't know how old I was, but it was when the oil field was crashing and they were trying to do voluntary layoffs. And I am in the back of the room, like sticking my hand up in the air, jumping up and down, and they wouldn't even call on me.
Scott, go ahead, Caleb.
100's a good number, but I mean, maybe Scott knows how many are out there. Is there 1,000? Is there 1,500? Or is there 500?
Well, if that was 20%.
Yeah, damn it! As soon as I said 500, I was like, wait a minute, 100, 20% of 500.
How many are out there? I don't know. Let's see if we can do some math.
Oil accountant.
Camille's done my job before. We don't have to count like that.
let the software work. Let the software do the job.
Shut up, Camille.
But Scott, your thoughts on that? And as Chef Gonzo pointed out here, a lot more restaurants, including theirs, which we highly recommend, Gabriella's and Rockport, they sell the farm-raised oysters. So that's a factor as well. But just your thoughts in general, Scott, because a lot of our listeners are in on this.
This is the same way that they did shrimp, the bay shrimpers. The same thing happened. They put a moratorium on new licenses. They waited a couple of years, and then they started buying back the licenses. Anytime you put a moratorium on it, the license is worth something. And so those 112, they could have sold it to one of the big oyster companies. If they wanted out, they weren't using it. Those oyster companies, they were buying every license that they could get up until the time that everything got closed up. So yeah, I mean, it's going to make a difference. Look around how many shrimp boats are out there now. Used to, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing a shrimp boat. They were all over the place, and they were constantly dredging things up and making the water all nasty. So it's a great start. I mean, 20% of it, that's a pretty good lick. That's a lot more than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I figured it'd be, 30, 40 of them, maybe something along those lines. When they were telling me how much money they had set aside, I thought that was, kind of optimistic, but turns out they were pretty much dead on with that. I talked to a couple of people and they said, I think we're going to get close to 100. And I just kind of said, okay, if you think so. Yeah. But I think they had a little inside information. I think there was some insider trading going on there, and they knew what that was. But yeah, I mean, every bit helps. All of it helps. Let's keep it rolling.
I want to mention one other thing here on the Feeding Frenzy before we get to the next topic, because I told him I would do it because I think it's really, really cool. But Colin Zillick over at Sawgrass Rods, talking about the Feeding Frenzy. He's gonna have his rods there, which Scott, I'm a big fan. That's pretty much all I'm throwing now. But he's also going to have a calligrapher at the Feeding Frenzy, and he sent us some pictures. I'll try to show it here for the live audience, but he sent us some pictures. The calligrapher is going to hand draw like a redfish tail or a trout tail with whatever you want on it, whether it's your name or something else. Like he posted here. Anybody watching live, you can see it says Captain Colin Zillick on it with the. I think that's the trout tail, I believe.
That was a permit.
Oh, that was a permit.
Yeah, he just got back from permit fishing. I just talked to him about 30 minutes ago.
So that's pretty cool. And here's the other one with the redfish tail, and it has his name. It's kind of hard to see here, but that's going to be really cool. You can put your name, put hey, Bite Me Podcast, OG, whatever you want to put on there. So that's cool. And do you have anything, Scott? Look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, that's normally $100 upgrade to have that custom done, because you got to take it over there to the calligrapher and have all that, little extra done. But he's going to do it for free out there at the Feeding Frenzy. Going to have it all set up. Also, we just sat and discussed, based off these tarpon rods, that he wants to completely revamp his inshore lineup and make that all Captain Scott Knoll signature line.
Look at you. Look at you.
Like, dude, come on, man. Anyway, he wants to do that, and that'll probably launch sometime next year. But yeah, we got some plans.
Well, one of our listeners said he's going to make an OG sauce popping cork for me. So take that.
Well,
take that. But I got a boat. We got the Bite Me Edition boat as well from Freedom Boats. All right, so let's talk about your favorite lure, your favorite line, your favorite rod, maybe, if it's whatever it might be. And this is a great question that I got a while back. I've always thrown fill in the blank without experimenting, trying other things. How often are fishermen restricting themselves? And Caleb, we talked about one of Dean's clients, or actually it was a client of a client, I believe, one of his friends. We're not saying. You recently shared a picture of some rods and reels that might have been a little bit dated, but they always threw them. And I think your information that you got was they showed up with that and always threw them. So the question actually came separate from that. But is it your favorite line, lure, etc., rod, reel, or is it just a habit? Like these guys were throwing the same stuff for years, if not decades. Is that a rut that too many people fall in? And feel free to share your story.
I think it's very much people get into the if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of scenario, right?
He's not going to share a story.
Who, me?
What if it's broken and they still don't fix it?
Well, the thing is, it's hard to talk them into. It's hard to convince them it's broken.
Okay, well, check this out. So sometimes it's too soon to tell these stories because they're probably listening today because I fished with them this morning. Rob, who was with me today, he had his fishing pole and he just liked it. And I had mine with me and I was like, try one of these, man. Try this. This is cool. He's like, no, man, I like my fish pole. And so he had a spinning rod that like the tip of it had been broken off. It didn't even have a tip top eye. It was like the third eye. And I even asked him, I said, might be time for an upgrade. He's like, I don't remember how I asked him, but he said, I found this one and it's good. Even found it. And I told him, I said, you might want to just go leave it at the jetties after the weekend and let somebody else find it and see if they can do some good with it. But yeah, man, I get it. So I have people that bring their own rods all the time and they have like an emotional attachment to them. Mm-hmm. They just like to fish with their own gear. But
that's a mistake, man.
Technology moves along.
Yes.
I had these two dudes, and we were fishing a super low tide, which there's a spot in West Bay that it's just like a deep spot that's like 20 feet wide by maybe 100 feet long, and every redfish on the flat goes in it when the tide comes out. And and it's a long walk to get to it. It's 200-300 yards probably. It sucks to walk back there, but I knew it'd be good. So me and these two old dudes that had no business walking back there walked our asses all the way back there. And I'm like, just casting that hole over there, and you're gonna catch as many redfish as you want. And so I'm standing on, we're lining up 3 wide, and I'm on the one end. And every cast, I'm just don't redfish. And these dudes ain't caught nothing in 15 minutes. And they're throwing like fiberglass rods with mono, and these reels look like microwaves. And so finally, I was like, "Hey, man, try my rod." And I put a Laguna in his hand with braid and everything, and it scared the hell out of me when he set the hook, because he set the hook like he was setting it on a 7-foot fiberglass rod with mono. And it just got tight. Dong! And this dude caught like 8 or 10. I was like, "Hey, why don't you let your buddy use it?" And they couldn't feel the bite, right? And so then his buddy caught 8 or 10. And I was like, "All right, well, this is a good time and everything." And we get back to the boat, and I was like, "Hey, I'm pretty tight with Laguna. I can get y'all some discounts probably." And the dude looked me square in the eyes and said, "Nah, man, we're good with our stuff."
Oh God, see?
I was like, "What?" I mean,
Go ahead.
There's something to be said for trying the new stuff, right?
Yes. Yes.
The reason I'm so dead set on what braid I use is because I've tried all the other ones, and I got back to what is the good braid for me. I've tried all kinds of rods, I've tried all kinds of reels, but when you won't even try it because, nah, man, what I got is fine. That I would still be throwing a Bass Assassin and a Bass Assassin only. There's nothing wrong with the lure, but I wouldn't know about the DOAs and the K Wigglers and all that, because nah, man, my Bass Assassin works. It doesn't make you gotta progress. I'm trying to think of any presidential slogan every 4 years. They always have something about yeah. But yeah,
a speckled trout in every pot.
A speckled trout in every pot. Yep.
Remember a chicken in every pot? You went to school, right?
What was that, like Reagan or something?
No, that was way back. It wasn't one of the Roosevelts or something like that.
Let me throw this at you. Reagan was way back for me.
Yeah, I understand that. I definitely understand that. Every once in a while in fishing, a reel comes along that changes the game. That reel is here, and if you're not using one, your friends are, and they're probably catching more fish. For sure, they're fishing with more confidence and comfort. Baits reels are the fishing industry's original CNC milled, one-piece aluminum, low-profile frame, built to last, it's built to fish. All Baits reels saltwater ready and good to go. I've got them on my boat. You should too. All reels, 3-year no BS warranty, and they mean that. And a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're dissatisfied, you will not be. I say it all the time. It is true. No bull, just baits. So Scott, I know you got something on this, but I want to shout out the fellas over at Laguna, and they helped me catch fish this weekend, because I throw sawgrass, but I had a Laguna that the tip broke off, and I was just not going to use it. I was just going to throw it away or put it on the pile of rods that I have. And I went over there, and they fixed it just beautiful. I mean, brand new tip, looked brand new rod, but it was only 6 feet long, maybe even slightly under 6 feet. And I had that light bulb moment, Caleb. I went, from the boat, when I throw the lily, you got to really keep the tip down. And you guys know I like the little lily. Really keep it down and really work it fast and hard. That sounded weird, but anyway. And so I'm like, this rod would be good to throw the lily off the boat. Dude, I caught like 3 redfish with it this weekend, because you could really work it fast and work the bait underneath. So there you go. Short rods and technology and fixing that rod can go a long way. But Scott, Dean mentioned it's emotional. I mentioned, is it just a habit? It's just wrong. I mean, you got to catch up, man. You got to catch up to the times.
And mine is on the sight casting side. I get guys all the time with their favorite pair of sunglasses, and I'm looking at those sunglasses going, I don't think those are polarized. It'll be more of a sports glass, Oakley's.
Yeah.
Oakley's is probably the number one, and they're the brightly colored one, the rainbow looking Oakley's. I've had those on my boat so many times. And I'll have a guy up front, and I'm pointing out fish. Yeah, you got a redfish at 30 feet moving left or right, 12 o'clock. And they're just looking around, and I don't see it. How are you seeing these fish? How are you seeing it? And I carry extra pairs of sunglasses in a couple of different frame sizes, keep them in the bag. And I talk, every now and then I'll talk one of them into, hey man, why don't you just try my glasses here just for a minute and see what you think. And hell, I had a hard time getting away from a couple of people, getting them back. They wanted to buy them right there on the spot. that's another technology thing, or just listening to other people that know what they're doing. That sunglasses thing is a big one. And yeah, going out there with non-polarized just because they're your favorite for playing softball doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah. The other one is reels, man. Dean, I mean, the reels these days, like I can almost fully close my hand over a reel right now and cast it and have all the strength, all the gear ratio, everything else that you want. By the way, we're going to have Chris Kane on from Bates Reels next week. We're going to talk about this exact thing. But the reels, some of them, Caleb mentioned they're like microwaves, and he'd still be throwing, whatever he mentioned that he'd still be throwing. I'd still be throwing an Ambassador 5000 and an ugly stick, if it was the old days. But the reels, you gotta at least do that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Caleb. I'm just
when I first started saltwater fishing, I had my dad's bass crap with remember the fishing rods with like the pistol grip on them.
Oh,
Had
yeah.
me a pistol grip and like it wasn't that. No,
This is a pen. I think this is the number 9. Yeah, this is the 209. I'd still be throwing this. You know how heavy this thing is? I keep it as a decoration in my office. Look at this thing.
In 1978, I went to Oshman's in Greens Point Mall and bought a Daiwa Procaster. It's a metal. I mean, it was actually made of steel.
Yes.
And I thought that was the most amazing innovation I ever had in my hands when it came to fishing. And yes, look at where we're at now. So it does make a difference. It does.
I could do curls with that reel. And I remember one, I think it was called the number 9, Scott. You would remember. It was slightly smaller than that. And I thought it was gold, man. And it had, you had to keep your thumb. It was hard to cast, but once you learned it, you were good. Like the reels alone, it boggles my mind sometimes.
Yeah. On those reels, man, that's where the term educated thumb came in.
Yeah.
You better have an educated thumb to cast one of those old Ambassadors or the old pins and the Millionaire. That Millionaire is the same one Dean got. Mine was blue. What colors was yours?
It was black and silver. I still got it, man. I have a box. I have a box up here on the shelf of memorabilia reels that goes from the Daiwa Procaster to the Shimano Calcuttas, and then Shimano had the Cardiff, and of course all the Ambassador 5500s, 6500s. I have a box of antiques. That's before Caleb was even born, man.
Caleb, could you throw this? Have you ever thrown this, Caleb?
I know the where I started was the like 10-to-1 Ambassador.
Yeah.
It was but
is that a pin?
Yeah, that's the pin 209. Okay. But I also have somewhere here.
I actually have a 209. I catch white bass with it,
which was smaller. But man, this thing I could do curls with it. It's like a workout.
Yeah, that was my white bass trolling reel, the 209.
That was my trout reel, baby.
I had a dude get on my boat the other day with spider wire on his reel, and I almost fell off the boat. Like, you did what?
Look at that thing, the team.
I'm gonna spool this up. Look, this is a bamboo rod.
Yeah.
With the this is so old it don't even have a name on it. But look, it's even got a leather.
Oh yeah.
Little leather pad.
You can slow that jack down.
That was the drag technology from back in the day.
This is a bamboo rod. I'm gonna say we gotta put these pictures up. That my dad made this rod.
Yes.
Bamboo, and he's strung. Look at the string.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
he made that.
I have a collection. Back when I had my shop over the years, I had a collection of antique rods that hung on the wall, and people would have them in their garage, and they would bring them and give them to me. They were like, "This should be displayed instead of sitting in my garage." Yeah,
this rod's made out of metal. It's like it's like square stock. Yep. I think it's Sears and Roebuck.
Yeah,
and the line on this is cotton twine.
Oh sure. Oh, I've thrown that.
I mean, gangster, dude.
Hey, I have one of those, and it's telescopic, like an antenna. You remember the metal antennas on the car that used to go ding ding ding? Yep. I have a metal rod that telescopes that looks just like that. It's multi-sided.
Temper Raider.
I had one at one point. I don't know where it ended up, but it was hollow. It was a metal tube hollow, and there was no eyes on it. The line went through the rod and came out the tip.
Through the rod.
Yeah. It went in just in front of the reel seat, and then it
I don't
came
even
out
remember that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
I don't think they lasted very long.
I don't know why nobody's ever came up with this name again, but this reel is called a game getter.
The game getter.
The game getter.
I like that. All right, so let's make a pact here. All of us post these pictures for those who are just listening to the podcast so they can see them on the group page. We'll make that pact. And now let's get back to how this all started. I don't
want people breaking in my house and trying to get this.
Does anybody remember how this started?
Yeah, yes. Fortunately, I do. Reels, if nothing else, Scott, reels, because nowadays I get that little hundo in my hand. I'm like, oh, this is better than anything. And, whatever it might be, and it works better and all that. I know you get people, maybe not with reels like we're showing here, but you get people on your boat too with whatever it may be. Even, and as much as I lived and died with the Corrado back in the day, the green one, even that, like, let it go. I got one of those lying around here too. Let it go, man. Sometimes when you love something, you got to let it go.
Yeah, there comes a time when it goes to display.
Yeah.
And Joe Doggett. I mean, you and him worked at the Chronicle together. His thing is direct drive reels. He uses those old direct drive reels, the little small ones, and old rods. And he'll take off. Him and Pike will go out every once in a while, and they'll go out and fish those with old wooden lures, just to go out and have fun. And they don't care if they catch anything or not. Kind of like us this past weekend. It didn't really matter if we caught a fish or not, just having fun. But there's he's got a whole collection of them, but his are in excellent shape. And you talk about having to have an educated thumb, because when you cast it, the reel handle's going backwards.
Yeah.
It is true direct drive. There is no drag on them whatsoever. And if you let go of the handle when a fish takes off running, you ain't never seen a flash like that.
It boggles the mind. But let it go. It's habit. It's emotional. We get it. We can get into. I'm going to circle this. We might even get back into this next week with lines and lures. We didn't get back into the Flounder discussion in terms of their life cycle, but definitely want to. Actually, let's talk about that, because just one before we get out of here. We'll go a little long today. We always do. But the Flounder life cycle. We'll get back to the gear next week. But we talked about redfish and trout and tarpon last week, and we didn't get to the Flounder. The Flounder life cycle is interesting to me, and feel free to jump in, any one of you guys. I know Caleb is going to be first in line, but the way they spawn to me is one of the more interesting things. Letting their eggs just kind of float back into the bays and all that. What can we learn from something on how the Flounder's life cycle works?
Waiting on Caleb.
Oh, waiting on Caleb.
I'm muted.
Caleb heard Flounder and he quit even listening. I can see it in his face.
I'm checking.
Pay attention.
He's checking messages.
The whole reason there's a flounder run in the fall, they head offshore, and that's where they spawn, is off the beachfront offshore. The little males go first, and the big females follow up. They're the last ones out. And I don't remember all of it. I got way off into it when they were doing all the new flounder regulations as to the temperatures, but there is a certain temperature that has to be in the water temperature range for those eggs to be viable. And I don't really recall exactly what it was, but it was pretty damn cold. And they spawn in the winter. And that's why one of the reasons they were saying our flounder population was going down was because we were having such warmer winters, and the water wasn't cold enough for the eggs to be viable on a consistent basis. And then also they can change it depending on the water temperature, whether or not they're males or females once they hatch out, which was kind of interesting. But then they swim upright, and they got an eyeball on either side of their head, and when they're babies, and then as they grow, that eye migrates over to the other side of the head, which is kind of weird. But Camille and I were fishing the Everglades one time with Charles Wright, and there was thousands and thousands of these little bitty, looked like oak leaves, and they were little bitty baby flounder, and the tarpon were sipping them off the top of the water. It was really cool, and Camille managed to catch one out of there, but yeah. Yeah, we caught a bunch of little flounder in our hands and took pictures of them. They were almost clear. They were so small. They were like fingernail size. But yeah, they do have an interesting life cycle. That's the main flounder. The southern flounder is the main one that we have. But we've got a bunch of different flounder species and flukes that that don't get very big. There's a whole bunch of them around. If you ever been out on a shrimp boat, you'll figure that out pretty quick. There's all kinds of little small flounder out there.
Well, Dean, this is where you come in because we all know about the Flounder Run in November. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you up.
I was over here talking seafood restaurants with these guys.
I know. It's highly recommended.
Dean's hat looks like he got slapped by a redfish.
Yeah. But Dean,
I feel like I've been slapped around by everything today. But flounder,
we all know. Well, here's what I was going to ask you. We all know about November and the Flounder Run, but May and June right now is a good time to catch flounder. Why is that?
Because they come back from where they went in the fall.
But it seems like they're more accessible in May and June, even because you can catch flounder year round. You can catch flounder year round.
He keeps trying to have flounder discussions on the show, and it keeps not working.
I know you've caught flounder this time of year.
There's always a few of them that don't migrate. So you do.
The reason the only reason that I end up catching flounder at this time of year is because those edges of those drop-offs and those drains where we're fishing for speckled trout this time of year is flounder habitat. They live on the edges of those flats along those drop-offs where current flows. I mean, they lay on the bottom. They wait for things to be brought to them instead of swimming around it. Even though it is a very predatory type of fish, I mean, they can get violent and they will get aggressive and hit things. But yeah, it's a myth, man. It's it's a mystery. But the reason, so flounder is an incidental bycatch at this time of year for me because I spend more time on those edges, bumping the bottom with soft plastic for speckled trout.
But don't sleep on the edges of intercoastal. Tend to find a lot of flounder there, not necessarily on purpose. I always say I catch them by mistake.
And see, and Monday through Wednesday, you can do that. The rest of the week, it's a boat parade.
Here we go. We've come full circle. How about that? Yes. That's what they call a complete show. Yeah, exactly. it's almost like we planned it. So next Monday through Wednesday, I'm going to hit those edges and see if
this never looks like we planned it. Just
it never does ever, but this one does. This is a monumental day in Bite Me podcast history. All right, what would you do? You know what? God dog it, I haven't even looked. I
honestly, that thing has been on the rundown for so damn long. That when it was first on the rundown, I looked everything up so I could be a little bit prepared about it. But it's been on there so long that I forgot everything.
Yeah, the flounder have migrated since then.
Yeah, twice. We've got 2-year-old flounder now that are out there. All right, Caleb, I'm gonna start with you. You're going down south.
I am going down south.
Yeah, what's the word?
I'm gonna go down south and troll around and look for them. That's what I'm gonna do. If I was up here, man, I would be wading shorelines. With the guys wading seem to be doing the best in West and East Matagorda. I drifted a little bit. It wasn't overly productive. It was really good before the rain, but it wasn't overly productive for me this weekend. The water temp, the one thing I did notice is the surface temp about noon, 1 o'clock was like 88.
Ouch.
So yeah, I would think it'd be a little bit cooler down deep, but I think we're creeping into that time where go get it done early and then stay out if you want to. That being said, the best bites Friday and Saturday, which they were decent but not significant, were from like 11 to 1. So I mean, you can still get it done, but we're next month or two, I think we're going to start getting into that. It's really hot, get it done early. So waiting would probably be my game early, maybe really late. What I'm doing personally, I'm just going to go troll the flats and look for them.
And we're getting hints of just hints now of the wind perhaps subsiding a little bit, Dean. Just like Thursday,
a hurricane, dude.
Thursday it's blowing. Friday's really good in the morning, at least on my app. Saturday it blows again. Sunday might be better in the morning. So we're getting hints of the wind finally calming down, Dean.
Let me see. Let's see. I got I got 7, 8, or 9 in the morning with 15 in the afternoon for like the next 7 days. But
yeah,
today was absolutely wonderful. One thing that I follow up on what Caleb was talking about. So the last 2 days we started early drifting the flats. And yes, the water temperature was 86, 87 degrees. Never saw it really hit 88 on the flats or on the surface here. But so around 10 o'clock, we have went and parked the boat and jumped out and wade fished for the rest of the day. Walking on that sandbar, extremely warm when you step out. You walk out to like waist deep water, and it is dramatically cooler when you step off that edge into that deeper water. I mean, it is noticeably different in about 10 paces. So the edges of those the deeper water and the edges is considerably cooler than the shallow flats and the surface temperatures.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to get to Scott on this, because Scott, I was thinking about this yesterday when I was fishing. The temperature's going up. We're in the flats, and you live on the flats. Man, how do you manipulate that when the temperatures are getting so high, and you're in your little skiff?
And just go early and find your fish by 10 o'clock. If you ain't satisfied with what you caught by about 9:30 or so, then you ain't gonna be satisfied for the day. It's just they're gonna go sleep. The oxygen level drops when the water gets that hot, and especially you get the lighter winds, July, August, and there's no oxygen in the water. Fish will just they'll get real lethargic on you. I keep waiting. And we got 2.5s at 5 seconds.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Seconds. And I'm waiting to see that magic time when I open it up and it says 1 to 2s at 7 seconds, 8 seconds. Man, I'm all about that. I'm ready. Everything's all rigged up and ready to go.
Man, you better get out there and start your motor every once in a while. It's been a while on that big boat.
I was out there running it the other day on the big boat. While the kids were over at Jimmy's swimming, I dropped my boat into the water from the sling and just ran the boat for a little while.
I'm not kidding. So, all right, boys, that was a lot of fun, and Scott's now showing us his new puppy that he's going to keep forever.
This one's already gone home to somebody, and then he came back. She's back because they're on vacation. So
okay,
we're babysitting while she's on vacation.
You guys have anything? I know, is it James Plog tonight?
James Plog and some Curtis Liker, somebody undoubtedly is going to start the tarpon conversation, and I'm just going to sit here and stare at it like we're talking about flounder.
I'm going to start it. I'll start it.
Yeah. And I always say it, you got to book these guys. I haven't said it in a couple of weeks, and that's on me. They're simply the best. Great friends, great stories. And Scott, Dean, you have anything you want to share? Parting thoughts here with our friends?
See you next week.
Somebody go buy FTU and give Kerry a hard time about landing redfish.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all got to do that, man. Gulf Freeway FTU. Go
He'll
see Kerry.
He'll be there. He's the surly one with the white hair.
I don't know. He's the shorter of the surly ones.
There's a lot of surly ones over there. Oh man! But book our guys. You know where to find them. DM them. DM me. We'll get you hooked up. A lot of listeners have been taking advantage of that, and you will not regret it. Don't forget everything I said at the top about RSVPs and hotels and raffle tickets. You really need to get on. I think we only have 13 spots left for the free meal, but RSVP anyway. We will let you know. It's just $15. Get in there. Lots more stuff coming in. Appreciate everybody joining us here on the podcast today. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, y'all reckon while that calligrapher's there, he could write "not as good as Caleb" on the handle of y'all's reels?